Talkline from in Colvin Church Studios. Now, bear with me on this. I've been trying to sort through this because last night there was, in the Senate Finance Committee, they passed out a bill, and this bill, it's Senate Bill 546, that would put certain derivatives of hemp, specifically Delta 8 and Delta 10 THC, would make them controlled substances. And right now they're not. And Delta 8 and Delta 10, and there's a lot of different derivatives that can come from cannabis and hemp. And right now, at least for probably the last X number of months, Delta 8 THC and Delta 10 THC, particularly Delta 8, have been showing up in not only in vape shops, but also in convenience stores and gas stations and tobacco shops and also cannabis dispensaries. Have been showing up in there in the form of gummies and vape cartridges and other products, and they're not regulated. So you have a situation where, and it'll get you high. And so you have a situation where the Delta 8s and the Delta 10s can be purchased legally over the counter at a convenience store by anybody, if I understand this correctly, and that is a concern. Let me bring into this discussion Dr. Elizabeth Scharman. She's the Executive Director and Clinical Director of the West Virginia Poison Center. She testified at the Senate Judiciary Committee meeting last night. Doctor, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Thank you for coming on. So I took a rough crack at that. Was I close in trying to understand and describe what Delta 8 and Delta 10 THC are?
Yes. So just to clarify, so the marijuana plant, which most people think of as the source of marijuana, or Delta 9, of which people can obtain a medical marijuana card,
right,
and obtain legally in this state. That particular plant has over 100 different what we call cannabinoids in there.
Right.
And Delta 9 is one of them.
And that's the medical marijuana. That's what we think of as a medical marijuana, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Marijuana.
Yep.
No, that's all right. Another one of those cannabinoids is called cannabidiol, and that is a very specific chemical that only refers to that very specific chemical. And that cannabidiol is found in hemp. So when people think of hemp, they think of cannabidiol.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can, in that cannabidiol, extract or squeeze out a very small percentage of another cannabinoid that's found in cannabis, and that is Delta 8.
Mm-hmm.
What people need to realize, though, is that there's only a very small amount of Delta 8 in cannabidiol, and so in order to make it profitable, they are actually synthesizing or chemically making Delta 8 from cannabidiol. So it is not that you're taking a legal cannabidiol extract of hemp and getting Delta 8 from it that you're seeing showing up in gummy bears and cookies and candies at convenience stores, etc. It's actually a chemically synthesized product.
Okay, so this is, it sounds like that this is in a legal netherworld, a legal loophole that allows this chemically altered drug to end up in gummies and cookies and things like that, that is not regulated currently, and then you can buy at a convenience store. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's very similar, and I won't take credit for making this analogy, but it's a great analogy. Sudafed that people use for cough and colds is legal.
Yeah.
You can buy it from your pharmacist. But when you make it into methamphetamine is illegal.
Yeah, okay.
So saying cannabidiol from hemp is legal, that's true. But when you chemically synthesize another substance from it, that's what we're talking about.
So, and doctor, let me put a face on this. So, and I don't want to be an alarmist here, but as I understand, the concern here is that with this Delta 8 and maybe to a lesser degree Delta 10, that they're showing up in gummies and cookies and various things and in vaping products, that a child, somebody who's a teenager or younger, can go into a convenience store and buy it and get high. True?
Yes. So we're seeing adolescents do that and being able to buy it and get high. We're seeing children get into these products, people bring them into their homes. They look like nerd ropes, gummy bears, cereal, brownies. The kids think they're food. We had a young child that had seizures, lost consciousness, needed to be put on a ventilator because of these. We're also seeing unsuspecting adults who a friend or a family member might say, hey, if you have a bad headache, why don't you try one of these? And they're taking 3 or 4 because they really don't realize what they are.
Mm-hmm. And it's not regular. It currently is not because of the way it's been synthesized. It's not regulated, and you don't really know what's in it because there's not this full disclosure on the package. Is that correct?
Right. The packages don't always make it clear on the front of them that it contains Delta 8. They might say it contains CBD or cannabidiol or a hemp product, but when you look on the ingredients in the back, it's Delta 8. There's not an age restriction for people to buy them. And
do kids know this? I mean, kids have. Look, I was just learning about this, frankly, today. Today, you know about it. I mean, do kids already know about this stuff?
Some of the adolescents do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they know. They know they can get.
Some of them don't. They're unsuspecting if they walk in a store and you see something that looks like gummy bears that you can buy. You've got unsuspecting children as well. Yeah. Some know what they're doing, and some just have no idea what they're getting into.
But it's illegal. It's not illegal. It's not. I mean, it's not technically illegal, correct?
And this is where people get confused. They think that the Farm Bill, which allows hemp and cannabidiol products, allows this product, but because you're chemically synthesizing it, it's not really covered by the Farm Bill. So, regulations that would make it clear where these chemicals fall and regulate how they're sold and packaged is necessary.
So something is necessary. So, in your opinion, as head of the West Virginia Poison Center, I mean, is this just a small? Is this just a little thing, and it's not that big a deal, and it'll sort itself out, or is this a legitimate concern?
We believe this is a legitimate concern, and these are just the ones that we know about over the last couple of years. We've had 81 reported poisonings, with more than half of those occurring just last year. And about 26% of those are in children less than 6, an additional 10% in kids that are 6 to 19 years old. We've had 6 require critical care admission, and over 71% of those have required management in a hospital.
Well, Dr. Elizabeth Scharman, Executive Director, Clinical Director, West Virginia Poison Center, on Delta 8 and Delta 10. And it is, thank you for coming on, Doctor. I appreciate it. I'll probably get back to you. I'm just, again, starting to learn about this. Those would be included as a scheduled drug, a Schedule 1 drug under the bill that came out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And we need to know more about this because right now it's kind of slipping through. I mean, technically it may be illegal. It's kind of slipping through a legal loophole here. This is Talkline on Metronews, the voice of West Virginia.